Nobody warns you about this moment. Not the big stage. Not the packed room. Not the speech you rehearsed 40 times in the mirror. The moment that breaks most people is smaller than that. It's the 5 steps between the hallway and the door. It's the 3 seconds before you pick up the phone. It's sitting in your car in a parking lot knowing you have to walk in there and be somebody, and feeling absolutely nothing like that person right now. I know that feeling. I lived inside it for years. Every high-stakes situation I walked into, I was running a highlight reel of everything that could go wrong. Every possible way I could embarrass myself, freeze up, say the wrong thing, get exposed as someone who didn't belong there. And the worst part wasn't the fear itself. The worst part was having nothing to do with it. No tool. No reset. No way out. Just white-knuckling my way through and praying nobody could see what was happening underneath. That was my reality for a long time. Then I started studying what was actually happening in the brain during those moments. Not motivational theory. Not mindset fluff. The actual neuroscience of pressure, how the body responds, what the nervous system does, why some people seem to step into hard moments like they were built for them while others shrink. And I found something that changed everything. It wasn't confidence in the way people sell it. It wasn't a personality trait you either have or you don't. It was a set of specific, repeatable actions, things you do with your body, your breath, your attention, that chemically shift how your brain reads a situation in real time. Not over 6 months of self-improvement. Not after years of building belief in yourself. Right now. In the 60 seconds before you walk through that door. 5 techniques. Each one backed by how your nervous system actually operates under stress. Each one fast enough to use in the moments that matter most, before the conversation, before the presentation, before the thing you've been terrifying yourself about all week. I've used these in rooms I had no business being confident in. Rooms where the stakes were real and the margin for error was 0. And every single time, the version of me that walked out was someone I hadn't fully met yet. That version is available to you too. Not someday. Not after you fix everything you think is broken about yourself. Before your next hard moment. Which, if you're being honest, might be closer than you think. Use even 2 of these and you will feel the shift before you've said a single word. Here's the first one. Your body is lying to your brain right now and you don't even know it's happening. Not because something is actually wrong. Because of how you're breathing. The second stress shows up, real stress, the kind attached to something that matters, your breathing changes. It gets short. Tight. Shallow. You pull air into the top of your chest instead of deep into your lungs and you don't notice because you're too busy thinking about everything that could go wrong. But your nervous system notices. And here's what nobody ever explains. Your brain doesn't just send signals down to your body. Your body sends signals back up to your brain. Constantly. In real time. And shallow, rapid breathing is one of the loudest signals your body can send. It translates directly into one message: danger is here. Something is wrong. Stay alert. Brace. So your brain cranks up the alarm. Which tightens your chest more. Which makes your breathing worse. Which sends a louder danger signal. Which makes the alarm louder. You are caught inside a loop that is feeding itself and getting worse every second, and most people have no idea they're even in it. They just think they're nervous. They don't realize they're making it worse with every breath. Here's how you break the loop. 4 counts in. Hold for 4. 4 counts out. That's 1 cycle. Do it for 60 seconds. That's roughly 5 or 6 cycles, and it costs you nothing except 1 minute you were probably spending panicking anyway. What happens underneath that simple rhythm is not simple at all. That breathing pattern directly activates the parasympathetic nervous system. That's the system your brain uses to signal safety. Calm. Control. When it switches on, your heart rate drops. Your muscles stop bracing. Your thoughts stop firing like they're trying to outrun something. The fog starts to lift and the clarity that was buried under the panic starts to surface. Your body just told your brain the threat isn't real. And your brain believed it. I remember the first time I actually used this before something that scared me. Not read about it. Used it. Standing outside a room where a conversation was about to happen that I had been dreading for 2 weeks. 60 seconds of that breathing pattern and I walked in feeling like a completely different person than the one who had been standing there 30 seconds before. Same situation. Same stakes. Different nervous system response entirely. 1 minute. No equipment. No one even knows you're doing it. And the version of you that walks in after those 60 seconds, calmer, clearer, more present, that person handles things differently. That person is still you. Just breathing correctly. Your body has been sending your brain the wrong message and you've been letting it. Not on purpose. You didn't know. Most people, when pressure arrives, do something completely instinctive. They fold inward. Arms cross. Shoulders curl forward. Spine rounds. Head drops slightly. They make themselves physically smaller and they do it automatically, without thinking, because some ancient part of the brain believes that shrinking is protection. It isn't. That posture is not neutral. It is not simply how you're standing while you wait. It is an active signal, a message your body is sending upward to your brain in real time, and that message says exactly one thing. I am not safe here. I am not in control. This situation is bigger than me. And your brain believes every word of it. Here is what most people never learn. The communication between your body and your brain runs in both directions. It is not a one-way street where your mind decides how you feel and your body follows. Your body feeds information back constantly. Your posture. Your chest opening or closing. The angle of your chin. The width of your stance. These are not just physical positions. They are data points your nervous system is reading every single second and using to decide what kind of chemicals to release into your bloodstream. Closed posture produces chemicals that shrink your thinking and tighten your risk tolerance. Open posture produces chemicals that expand your sense of control and calm your threat response. Your body is a remote control for your brain chemistry. Most people just never learned how to use it. So here is what I do now. 2 minutes before anything that matters, a bathroom stall, a stairwell, sitting in my car before I get out, I deliberately take up space. Feet planted wider than comfortable. Shoulders rolled back and down. Chest open. Chin level with the ground. Hands relaxed at my sides or resting on something solid. I hold it. I breathe. I let the posture do the work. Not because it looks powerful. Because it manufactures it. Chemically. Neurologically. In a way that is measurable and real and that no amount of positive thinking can replicate if your body is still folded in on itself. The first time I did this before a meeting I was genuinely afraid of, I felt something shift in my chest that I hadn't felt going in. Something that felt less like pretending and more like arriving. Like my brain had received a different briefing and was now preparing accordingly. 2 minutes in a bathroom nobody else is using. That is the entire investment. Walk out of there and walk into the room. The difference in how you carry yourself will not be invisible. People will feel it before you speak a single word. The question you are asking yourself right now is making everything worse. Not because you are weak. Not because you are unprepared. Because it is the wrong question entirely and almost everyone asks it. What if they judge me? What if I blank? What if I say something stupid and the whole thing falls apart and everyone in that room sees exactly who I really am? That loop. That specific, relentless, exhausting loop that starts the moment something important is on the line and does not stop until the moment is over. That is not anxiety being irrational. That is your brain doing exactly what it was designed to do when it detects a threat. It scans for danger. It runs worst-case scenarios. It tries to protect you by showing you every possible way this could go wrong so you can prepare for each one. The problem is it never stops. And the more you engage with each scenario, the more real each one becomes, and the more your brain commits to treating the situation as genuinely dangerous. Your body tightens. Your thinking narrows. Your presence in the room shrinks to almost nothing because your brain has decided this is a survival situation and is allocating all available resources accordingly. You walk in defending yourself against something that hasn't happened yet. And defended people are small. They hedge. They qualify everything. They take up less space than they have earned and they leave the room having given a fraction of what they actually had to offer. Here is the only question that fixes this. Not what could go wrong. What am I walking in there to give? That is the entire reframe. But do not underestimate it. When you shift from what might be taken from me to what I am bringing into this room, something measurable happens in the brain. It moves from a defensive state to a purposeful one. And purposeful people are not the same as defended people. They stand differently. They speak differently. They make eye contact instead of managing it. They take up the space they came to occupy. Ask yourself right now. What do you actually have? A skill that took years to develop. A perspective nobody else in that room holds. A solution they have been waiting for without knowing it. Something real. Something earned. Something that belongs in the room whether or not the fear agrees. That answer is your anchor. Return to it the moment the wrong question tries to come back. Because it will try to come back. Fear is persistent. But purpose is louder when you know how to access it. You are not walking in there to survive the room. You are walking in there to change it. Lead with that and watch what happens to everything else. There is a version of you that anxiety cannot touch and it lives exactly one step behind the feeling. Not above it. Not beyond it. One step behind it. Most people who struggle with confidence in high-pressure moments are not struggling because they lack ability. They are not struggling because they are fundamentally less capable than the people around them. They are struggling because they are standing inside the feeling with no distance between themselves and it. The anxiety is not something they are experiencing. It has become something they are. And when you are the fear, you cannot think around it, move through it, or use it for anything useful. There is a technique that creates distance in seconds. It sounds strange the first time you hear it. Do it anyway. Say your own name to yourself. In your head. In third person. Not I am nervous right now. Not I can do this. Your actual name. He is nervous. She is nervous. Whatever applies to you, use your name and speak about yourself as if you are someone you are observing from one step away. Research across multiple studies has shown that this single shift, self-talk moving from first person to third person, creates immediate psychological distance from emotional states. Not because it tricks you. Because it genuinely changes the way your brain processes what you are feeling. The same anxiety that was flooding your system a moment ago becomes something you are watching instead of drowning in. And the moment you are watching it, you can work with it. I used this for the first time before a presentation that had me completely in my head for days. Standing backstage, running every disaster scenario, completely consumed. I said my own name in my head. Told myself what I was observing. And something moved. Not disappeared. Moved. The feeling went from something crushing me to something I could see clearly enough to set aside for the next 40 minutes. That distance is not fake. It is not suppression. It is exactly the mental shift high performers use to function under conditions that would paralyze most people. You are not pretending the fear is not there. You are refusing to be identical to it. The first 3 seconds feel bizarre. That is normal. Push through them. By second 4 it starts working and by second 10 you will feel the gap open between you and the feeling, and in that gap there is room to breathe, room to think, and room to perform at the level you are actually capable of. One sentence. Your name. Third person. That is the entire technique. And from that one step back, everything that felt impossible a moment ago becomes something you can walk directly into. This is the one I use every single time. No exceptions. Not once have I walked into something that scared me without doing this first. And it is the smallest technique of everything I have shared with you today. Right before the moment arrives, hand reaching for the door, cursor hovering over join call, 3 seconds before the conversation you have been dreading starts, you make one decision. One tiny, deliberate, completely conscious choice that belongs entirely to you. How slowly you are going to speak. Where exactly you are going to stand when you walk in. What the first sentence out of your mouth will be. How you are going to hold your hands. Something small. Something specific. Something that is already decided before the moment even begins. That is it. That is the whole technique. But here is what is actually happening underneath something that looks that simple. Anxiety does not live in danger. Anxiety lives in uncertainty. Every what-if that has been eating at you, every scenario your brain has been running on loop, every physical symptom that showed up uninvited, all of it is powered by the unknown. By everything that might happen that you cannot predict or control. That is the fuel. That is what keeps the engine of fear running even when you know logically that you are going to be fine. The moment you make one deliberate choice, any choice, however small, you take one thing off the unknown pile and move it to the decided pile. And that shift is not symbolic. It is neurological. Your brain registers that you are already in motion. That you have already begun. That you are not standing at the edge of something terrifying waiting to see what happens. You are someone who has already made a move. And people who have already made a move do not freeze. They continue. That feeling of already being in motion before the moment starts is one of the most powerful confidence states the human brain can access. Athletes use it. Surgeons use it. Anyone who performs under real pressure has some version of this whether they named it or not. You are not hoping the moment goes well anymore. You have already started. Walk in with that and the room feels different the second you enter it. Not because anything external changed. Because you arrived as someone who had already decided something. And decided people carry themselves in a way that undecided people simply do not. 5 techniques. 1 breath. 1 posture. 1 question. 1 name. 1 decision. That is the complete toolkit. Small enough to use anywhere. Powerful enough to change everything about how you show up. You were always capable of this. You just needed somewhere to put the fear. Subscribe. Because next week goes even deeper and you do not want to miss where this is going.